Hello, this is Blue Star, Defender of Equestria, and this is my AfterThoughts review to Sparkle 7. Anybody up for a good heist? Alright, man, we attack at dawn. When you read that won't work, it's like a totally unexpected thing impossible. None of this sneaky stuff, let's just bust through the front door, we can take them. I really like this episode, but Zephyr, a guard? Why? I gotta get all this out of the way first. There is no way Zephyr would make it as a guard. But it all comes back to, it's just to set up this joke or this moment with Rainbow Dash. So, I will always be annoyed by that. But yeah, it's really just for a joke, so it'll be fine. And of course, they fix this at the end by basically kicking him out of the guard with definitely a very dishonorable discharge. You could say the same thing about the other guards, but at least they weren't getting a little too close when fresh with Rainbow Dash, shall we say. Could be the other reason why he was kicked out of the guard. I have to admit, I've always been like, that's too close. Back off. At the same time, it really wasn't that big of a deal. Sort of. But it goes back to, if you saw this happen in the street, you'd probably be concerned, but at the same deal, really wasn't that big of a deal. Yeah, I'm unhappy about that. I do think the guards kind of came out okay. I mean, it is kind of bad for them to be like, oh, look, a party! Let's all go check it out! It's kind of difficult to ignore something like that, but yeah, really, the guards should have just stayed where they were. This is yet another instance where the Royal Guard have to fail. Because if they actually did their job properly, there'd be no way for the main 7 to get past them, and there'd be no story here. I think this is why Zephyr Breeze is here, because they let him take the fall for the Royal Guard having to fail. I almost feel kind of bad for him because Luna set him up! Luna specifically puts him there because she knows that he's gonna get distracted or is gonna walk away from his post or something. So she put the one guard there she knows is gonna basically let the main 6 get through and do whatever they want, so... So he was set up! But I think in the end, yeah, this was for the best of everybody, because yeah, he would make a terrible guard. He is neither royal nor a guard, so... Promise to stop now. Time to focus on just the episode now. But yeah, overall, I did like this episode. It is kind of weird, but I do like it. It's a My Little Pony heist. It does seem kind of weird, though, to have with this backdrop of this competition. I wonder if the guards are thinking, it's like, hey, do you know why they've called in, like, every single royal guard? Oh, it's so that Shining Armor can win some full hood competition. Oh, really? Well, it's also to test out the castle defenses, but still. But even Twilight admits, yeah, it's exactly for that. And I do really like the addition of the mare royal guards. I think that's awesome. However, the size difference between the mares and the stallions, I think just too big. Them standing next to the stallion royal guards makes them almost look like children. It's just weird, to be honest. However, I do think it's awesome that they included mares in the royal guard, so... And Rarity in a Royal Guard outfit was priceless. So, yes! I would love a video or something about the backstory of this episode. Or actually, you know, why did the voice actors pick these particular things? I almost think that they picked Zephyr also because, like, what's the worst thing that Rainbow Dash would have to do during this? Oh, she has to seduce, charm Zephyr Breeze, which is, like, the last thing she would ever want to do ever because he's just... there. Oh dear, because yeah, that's often the most dramatic and most exciting thing is what would be the worst thing for this character to have to do. So I think that would definitely be the worst thing for poor Rainbow Dash. So I would love to know why do the voice actors pick these things and why do they want to do those things, because yeah, I've been told that this was basically a love letter from the team MLP for the voice actors. Like, what would you really want to do during this episode? I think was the basic premise, and I think that was interesting. And it was overall amusing. Twilight, you're going to do nothing. No, you want me to do nothing? That's like the worst possible thing. Yeah, there were lots of little funny moments between all the characters. Like even Celeste and Luna are like, all right, sister, you were right, or okay. I thought it was good. I thought it was fun. I really liked this episode, and it does seem from time to time be kind of weird, but it was kind of cool to see all these different things happening at once. I definitely want to know what's the story behind this episode, because I know there's a story here. And who knows, maybe we'll get to learn that story sometime. Or maybe it's sitting out there on the internet and I just need to go search for it. But of course, I'm trying to avoid spoilers, so I'm not gonna do that. I also did like the resolution, even though it's kind of treacherous. Oh no, we've been betrayed by an insider. No! Luna, how could you betray us? Again! It's not quite betrayal, but it's like, sister, how could you? And I also kind of like the sub-point of that sometimes we gotta be most aware of the threats inside our inner circles and not just from outside. Because sometimes the biggest threat isn't gonna be from someone trying to bust down the door. It could be from someone inside trying to betray us. And with what happened with Cozy Glow, this was probably a good move. And that was great with Luna with the goose. It's like, I did like that whole thing about, oh, the characters who we didn't really think were going to be involved in this episode were actually very involved in this episode. You're not the only ones who have a rivalry. I like that. That's a very good point. I actually did like to see the rivalry between Celestia and Luna from time to time because, they obviously don't get along, and that's fine. But here it was a little bit more fun. It's like, all right, sister. I did like the sub-point that Spike has always been like the little brother to Shining Armor and Twilight. And I was kind of taken off guard by that because it's never really been explored all that much. It's almost felt like Spike's been kind of more like the loyal assistant rather than a brother. So yeah, he was a member of this family, so in some ways it's kind of surprising that they didn't include him in the sibling rivalry. And everything on the sibling rivalry that I didn't realize at the time is like, oh, why did they do this competition? Because I sometimes feel like that could be bad. Trying to play quote-unquote favorites, like, oh, this kid is doing better than this kid is generally bad. But, oh, they say at the beginning of this episode, oh, to keep it friendly, they had this competition. So, oh, that was a good point. And again, the quote from Ninjago is, iron sharpens iron as sibling sharpens sibling. This kind of reminds me of a Newbie Dash, where the worst flyer of the day has to clean the compound. These things exist in the military to try to motivate you to not be the worst. Always be at your best, so you're not the worst and don't have to go and clean the compound. Used constructively and in the right way, these kinds of things can be helpful, but at the same time, it can lead to problems. And I knew that Twilight wasn't telling the truth when they say they always got along and they never fought. It's like, come on, all siblings fight and compete with each other. So that's okay, Twilight. But overall, this episode was really fun. I enjoyed it, and I think that there's definitely something for everybody in this episode. I mean, there'll be at least one thing that you'll really, really like, and I think it was nice that the characters got to do stuff that they normally didn't get to do, and I thought it was fun. I just like it. We got to see Rarity as Shadow Spade again, which I really liked. I liked that. That was fun, and, this episode was just overall really fun. There were some kind of awkward bits, and Zephyr as a guard will always make me sad. But fortunately, it was short-lived. But at the same time, there were more royal guards, including mayors, in this one episode that there has been in like all previous seasons combined. So yes, I just liked it. It was fun. It had a really nice ending, and it's like, oh, it's like we're all just one big happy family. Yay! So overall, this was a good episode. I loved it, and it was really fun. And congratulations to Team MLP for 200 amazing episodes. Yo! So I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, thank you for commenting, liking, and subscribing. And until next time, this is Blue Star. Stay strong and pony on. Blue Star out.